Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen, and I'm in Southern California. And today is March 22, where we are, and our special guest today is Mireille Tulikima, who comes to us live from Perth, Australia, and it's already Tuesday, 9 a.m. there. Also joining us from California is Mark Colo. As you could see, he's in the Amen corner of Orange County there. So this is, of course, just a screen. So Mireille, you are very, very active. I've been reading up on your LinkedIn and website, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but I want to tell everybody in the world who's going to watch this that you're an entrepreneur, a global entrepreneur, and also act as a global ambassador, goodwill ambassador. But seriously, you're a tech. Very active in tech as it's applied to the energy industry, petroleum engineering, and you've written a book about that as well. Why don't you tell us about yourself and your being a petroleum engineer? MT Energy Resources is your business, and I want to invite you now to do a couple of minutes about your specific energy industry practice.
Okay, so as you said, I am a global entrepreneur, but my key skill and expertise is in petroleum engineering. So I'm a petroleum engineer by background. I've worked for different corporations across the world. And 6 years ago, decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. So starting with in the energy sector, because that's where I had my expertise, and funded the MT Energy Resources. So MT Energy Resources is a consulting company. So we work on projects here in Australia, but also a lot of focus on Africa and Asia Pacific. And what we do, we involve in exploration and production, but not the operational side, more the research and technical side. So that's what we do. We work with small companies because they don't have most of the time the resources and the capital to have big teams to run their projects. So we help them to run the projects and do the lead them on the development of their different assets or different projects. And that's what we do. There's also part of the expertise that I brought as well, which is on what we call local content. Local content is about making sure that we create value as as operators in the country where we operate. So which means making sure that we develop the capability, the capacity, making sure that the money that is generated from the oil and gas industry in those countries is actually used to build up the country and make sure that, you know, there's diversity in the industry. So build up the capacity. So make sure that we transfer the technology as well, so that they can run their businesses locally and have, you know, the expertise locally, because it's quite costly for them to always bring the expertise from outside. And we do training as well, training and mentoring of staff as well. So that's in a nutshell what we do at MT Energy Resources. So we started just for, you know, in the oil and gas sector, but as you know, there's now a lot of talk about, you know, clean energy and making sure that, you know, I mean, making sure that we don't, you know, emit too much gas, or, you know, and not pollute. So that's, we're transitioning a little bit to get as well the renewable energy side of things, looking at wind, looking at solar, looking at other, you know, activity that we can have, hydrogen, things that are cleaner so far.
Let me ask you now, just to do a bit of a deep dive here on some of the things that you were mentioning about local content and the applications of your technical skills within petroleum engineering, and keeping things local. It takes a system to do that, to make sure the resources are used locally and not shipped away, and to renew the energy, if you will, and reuse the money that's been made, and apply it locally, and then having a self-perpetuating system in a local basis. Now, I also see from my notes here that you're an expert or an advisor on blockchain as it applies to this. Is this correct also?
An advisor, I wouldn't say. I'm a student of blockchain, okay. So I'm still learning about, so still developing. And so I have an interest, but I'm still developing in this area. So that's a bit, I'm a bit behind, I would say, than being an expert. So that's
but on blockchain, that is a system. It's an organized system that supposedly is foolproof, and it takes things in pieces and moves them around, and anyone who's involved in that has access. And so it's an authenticated system of controlling the details from piece to piece, from process to process, as it all applies to one specific thing.
And it gives also the transparency, because that's one thing that sometimes we omit when we talk about blockchain, especially in the finance area. It gives you the, you know, as soon as something is in the blockchain, you know, it's visible, it's, you know, you can't actually hide it. So there's this visibility that is necessary sometimes, especially in the, you know, in the sector that I am, you know, we don't normally know how the payment are done. There's a lot of things done backdoor. So, you know, being, you know, part of this blockchain gives, you know, more visibility, and also, you know, make people accountable. Because that's one of the key problems we have right now. You know, the movement of fund or capital is sometimes very obscure. So and that's why I started to get, you know, interest on blockchain, to really help this transparency in my industry, so that even people that are, you know, not big players can have this transparency and see how things are done and how they can come in as well, using fintech, and then, you know, be in the blockchain as well.
So has your career mostly been based out of Perth? I know you also said Africa, but also Asia Pacific, and you're right in the middle of it all, right there, as we look at a map anyway. But with these far-flung places, blockchain is a way to control that thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, I've actually had an international career, starting in Gabon, where I'm originally from. So
I see.
that's a
Okay.
French-speaking country.
Is that West Africa?
Mireille. It's in West Africa, next to Congo and Cameroon. We have a border with Congo and Cameroon, and it's a small country, so it's only 1.8 million people. That's probably why you probably never heard about this country. And so I am originally from there, and I went boarding at some point at the age of 15 in France. Did university and then came back to Gabon to work. But then after 5 years, had a fully international career, went to Europe, worked in Holland, went to Malaysia, went to obviously Australia, South Africa, and back to Australia, where I decided to settle and start my business.
Well, you certainly our global goodwill ambassador then. You have all this experience and contacts.
Yes. And,
so now,
in between, travel to so many countries. I was trying to count last time. It's like amounting to 30. So I'm really a global citizen. When people ask me, I'm like, okay, I'm a global citizen. I must say, because obviously I was born somewhere, I live somewhere, but I've come across so many cultures.
You got to start somewhere. Now, it says here that you're also a STEM consultant. So that's science, technology, engineering, and math?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all this is part of engineering, isn't it?
Yes. So, engineering, what I'm doing so far in the oil and gas is already engineering, but the technology part, I actually studied technology at school. So funny enough, I studied technology, and because of unfortunate event, because at that time I was living in France, so doing what you call the equivalent of bachelor in the US, and finished my bachelor, but my dad, who was the main breadwinner, passed away, so I had to go back to Gabon, and then that's how I started to look for a job, because I had to sustain myself, and the family didn't have much. So that's how I got into the oil and gas industry. They were looking for local national, that because they wanted to grow the local the local expertise. And that's how I got involved in the oil and gas industry. So I had to go through different trainings. So I went into the industry not knowing really a lot, but started first using my IT background, which was about more simulating and doing things that were linked to IT, and then move slowly to operation as my career grew. So that's and then now I'm kind of coming back to where I started, because I see that there's a lot of opportunity, and then technology is starting to be everywhere. Even in the oil and gas now, technology is building up. So I'm really building on this expertise, plus my expertise in the oil and gas to help different companies and different people, and especially doing a lot of empowering work for women, because as you've read, one of my main passion is to make sure that there's more women in those technical industry, the STEM industry. And that's really where I play a big role. So trying to work on the diversity of those industries.
So let me ask you about when you began in oil and gas. I know they were looking for local expertise to build on that. Were there other women involved, or were you the pioneer?
I was, from my country, I was the pioneer. That was back in 1995. So yes, I was the pioneer in the petroleum engineering itself. I mean, there was obviously women working in other departments, but I was the first petroleum engineer in that in my country, and there were other women. I had a supervisor who was an American woman who actually mentored me as well. So,
nice.
but from the local, yeah, I was the
Yeah.
pioneer.
Okay, so now I want to take a bit of a break. Paul, if you could show that nice promo that Marie is involved with, and she'll explain what we're looking at. So please tell us what this is. It's coming up on March 28th.
It's coming up on March 28th, so I've been invited to speak and it's mainly actually a Portuguese speaking a Portuguese speaking conference with a few people speaking English as well. So really focusing on Lusophone countries in Africa, so Mozambique, Angola, and then Brazil, and also other areas in Africa as well, and obviously Australia, which are coming. So it's really as part of the Woman History Month, and celebrating women, and also talking about leadership, how women come across as the leaders during this pandemic, and really pushing for feminine leadership for that. So it's coming on the 28th, and I'll be part of one of the panel. It's actually brought by an ambassador as well, a global ambassador, which is Tanya Tomei. And she's doing great thing as well. So even more than me. So that's fantastic. So it's coming at the end of this week.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Thanks, Paul. So, Mark, would you like to ask a question or make a comment about this? It sounds like Marie should be one of the noble and great ones in your next book.
Well, you'll still have to wait till volume 2. So sorry about that. But I would love to have you in my book.
Fantastic.
I love women leaders.
Anytime.
Women are really making some progress and doing some great things. Some great things. So thank you for your example. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
So, Mark, what do you think of her career? It sounds like it's a role model for your daughters.
It does. I mean, I always say my first credo. I have like 5 credos in life that I hang on to pretty tightly, and the first one is the only constant is change. So learn to embrace it. And you're certainly a poster girl for that, for what you've done and the changes you've made, because you've been to so many different places, probably learned so many different cultures and people and traditions. And I would love to just sit down with you sometime and have a cup of coffee and just hear your stories.
Yeah, definitely. We should do that. I always share my story, because that's, it's important to share so that people get inspired and they know that they can do it, because if I can do it, they can also do it. So it's important to share the story, and so that you give them also,
Nice.
this inspiration that they can be there and then do even better.
Down in the bottom is our chat thing, as you could see. So why don't you just exchange email or LinkedIn pages, and if you can't do it, I'll be glad to share it later. But let's talk for a few more minutes, and then we'll conclude. And I do invite you to come back again and be in another show, maybe sometime in mid-April or end of April, if you have time, Marie, and tell us about your experience at this special conference.
Not a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what is it that you are doing with Stepping into Your Greatness?
So Stepping into Your Greatness is a book that I wrote in 2000. I published it in 2016. And this book is about when I started to look at, what I've done so far and how I've traveled professionally and even in my personal life. I realized that there are certain steps that I've taken and certain rules that I think I've actually unconsciously followed, and decided to put those rules into a small book and explain how they are important, in our life for success or for whatever we want to accomplish. And that's what Stepping into Your Greatness is all about. And I also have a training now, a training that I give to especially women and young girls on knowing the rules and really starting to apply them, if they want to go to the next. I always talk about going to the next level of their greatness, because for me, people are really unlimited. They put their limits themselves. So if they can take that out and just keep going and keep improving themselves, that can be fantastic. And that's what I did. I just kept going. I didn't have really an objective to say, okay, this is where I want to be. I was just about, it was just about where I was. I just wanted to be better and better. And then it brought me where I am right now. So I didn't really think about, what is, success in a way. For me, it was about, always becoming better, a better version of myself and better than what I was, before.
Yeah, I love that
Mhm.
slide right there.
Mhm.
So you mentioned that there are 12 rules. Is that
Mhm.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
So the 12 rules. So you have the first one is obviously about greatness. So for me, you have to. It's a decision that you take. So the decision of becoming great, it has to be embodied in you, so that you don't have this fear coming in all the time and stopping you. So that's the first decision. It's really put yourself, get the right mindset about greatness, and knowing already that you have it. It's just a matter for you to unleash it. So that's the first one. That's where you start. The second is to really have faith in everything that you believe, and everything and really understand that this faith is going to help you to do even the impossible when people are not expecting you to do anything. And so that's the second rule. That's a very important one as well. And then the third one is to take the third one is to take action, because and have a plan, understand your gap, understand who you are, understand how you fit, and really take action. Take action. It's important to take action, even because this
I'm
taking
writing all
action.
these down as you speak
Yeah.
here. So, and when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about, oh my God, the demons are there, then I'm going to look at these and say,
Yeah, you can look at here. You can look at it. Let me also get it here.
yeah,
Just
okay.
to
So after
remember.
take action is execution, right?
It's execution. Yeah, it's you have to execute, because you can have all those plans, you can believe in everything and believe that you're great, but until you've taken action, nothing happens. So you really have to step up and take action. And so that's a key one. The other one is there's another rules that are always, and that's a very important one, is the networking. But it's not just networking in especially if you are in an industry or if you are in a community. I call it 300 360-degree networking. So you network up, you network down, you network across as well. And it's important that you do the round, because sometimes what happens is we limit ourselves to a certain community, a certain industry, and we learn a lot from different people. So it's important to have a diversity in your network. You can network with people who are younger, because they are, when you talk to them, they are so innovative. They don't have those restrictions, and sometimes they actually help you to get somewhere. And up, obviously, it's for the promotion and getting to a next level, but across as well, not just stay in your industry. And that's what I've done. I've not stayed only in the oil and gas industry. I started to branch out, understand what's happening in the technology sphere, in the health sphere, and what's happening, in the humanitarian philanthropy area. So really open up, this network, and make sure that you build this network, because that's what's gonna help you when you're stuck. Get into your network and stuck. The one of the other rule is really always have this positive attitude, and understand that whatever happened to you, there's always a positive inside, and you need to really focus on the positive. Even if everything is negative, find this positive, and always have this positive mental attitude toward what's happening to you, especially when you're fighting adversity. So that's another the rule. And also that this rule is actually not mine. It's Napoleon Hill, Building Your Mastermind Alliance. That's a key one, because you have this, you can have this vision, you can have all those goals, but you need the support, especially when you have gaps. Bring people who believe in your vision, and people who believe in what you're doing, and really go for it. Another goal is to in your partnership have a personal partnership in your relationship with your partner, husband, wife, or even in business. Make sure you have somebody at least that you count on, somebody who's here when you're really down. That this person is gonna be there and take you up. You have to have at least a person like that in your in business, but also in your personal life. Obviously, it's got to be your partners, your wife. So because that's really important to boost you and to help you to recover, because sometimes we think we're strong, but it doesn't, and things eat, and we realize, no, we're not that strong, and we need this only person that, so we need to identify this person in business, but also personally in our life, to really, is always going to be there. And the person that we can call even at midnight or 1 a.m. or I don't know, at odd hours, and they will listen and then help us. So that's a key thing, a key things to do. Identify this person that is really gonna be on your side. There's a communication aspect. So that's another rule. Make sure that you know how to communicate, not only communicate verbally, but also, the emotional intelligence of the, which is a key aspect in everything that we do. So understand, how you come across, understand how people communicate and how you relate to people in a certain environment. So the communication is really key. And obviously be, and that's something I didn't do at the beginning that I'm doing now more, and that's probably why I'm here, is, make sure you brand yourself and you tell your story. So really, have this constant, make it an habit to talk about what you do, talk about your achievement, talk about your, not really for being arrogant, but really tell it as it is, with, the story and the feelings that you had through, and really go for it. Brand, out to people to tell your story, and really push it, because you never know who you're going to inspire, and that's an important step. And I've realized that a lot of women don't do that. I mean, I've worked with men a lot. They're quite, it's natural for them, but for some women, there's always like a step back, and that's why I said, okay, I have to go there and show that, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You're just telling your story. You're just, talking about your achievement, and you're doing it in a way that's gonna, capture the audience, and that's an important step to take.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic, because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them, because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This is a blessing to have you on this program,
Mm-hmm.
and I thank you. And I think your appeal is universal, and you're saying things that I've seen in other places, but it wasn't you, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't your story. Mark, wouldn't you agree that this is absolutely universal in nature, but the specifics connected with Mireille is so unique? It's really inspiring to hear it again.
It is,
Mm-hmm.
it is. I'm loving this, everything I'm hearing. In fact, one thought that popped into my head is that you and I, Muriel, probably didn't pronounce it right, but I'm trying my best. We have a lot in common, because half of my book is everything you just said. And I believe in it all wholeheartedly. I believe in advocacy. I think you have to have an advocate who
Mm-hmm.
looks after you, that is not afraid to pick up the phone and call you,
Mm-hmm.
will spend time with you on the phone and not feel rushed. That's so critical to have that. And you have 12 principles to live by, I guess, in your book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as ambitious. I only have 5, but I'm sure they're very similar in nature to what you believe in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just think it's so wonderful to meet you today, or Or is it tonight?
Fantastic.
The evening there? It's evening.
It's
tomorrow.
morning. It's
Morning.
tomorrow.
Early
It's
morning.
I'm in your future.
Okay. I look forward to see what you've accomplished. Tomorrow. Yeah, that's
I'm in
great.
your future. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And that's why, when I thought about I said, okay, I have to put it down because it's gonna help anybody. It helped me to really stick to those rules. And I know that it's gonna help a lot of people. So that's why, I and it's really a small, very sharp book that you can read in, 2-3 hours. But you get when you get that, you can apply it easily. Like you said, it's universal,
It is.
and it's not really something that and I went through it without actually knowing it. So it's really universal, and anybody can really do it.
Well, I don't want to hype my book here, but I'm going to just say one thing about it. The title, The Noble and Great Ones, comes from a tomb in Thebes, Egypt, just outside Luxor today, where Luxor is located. And the tomb with some scrolls, and the scrolls were interpreted. And there was a phrase in there called the noble and great ones. It was about individuals that did noble and great things thousands of years ago. Just very, very bright people, but the sequence of the words matters, because nobility has got to come first if you're going to do great things. If you put greatness and nobility, sometimes people get such a big head about what they've done, what they think they can do, and they sweep nobility right under the carpet. So to me, true great deeds happen because that person has nobility first, and then they have greatness because of it. So that's kind of what the book's about.
Hey, Mark.
So I need to get the book. Is it on Amazon or
It's
where's
on
the
Amazon.
website? Okay.
Amazon.
So
Mark.
nobility.
Mark,
and-
what is noble? What does that mean to you?
Well, I've got it in the book in my first chapter or so, but it basically talks about doing virtuous things for other people, helping others, lift others, kind of putting yourself in a secondary position in some ways. But obviously you wouldn't pass somebody on the street that needs a hand or needs some help. But a lot of people would do that because they don't have time to stop, or maybe they think they've got COVID. I don't know, but you got to do things to help others. And if you help others, you'll get ahead and you'll have good things happen to you. And I told that on a previous show that we had. If you've ever seen the movie Hook, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it's one of my favorite movies with Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams. It's all about a workaholic, and this individual just works. That's all he does, and he doesn't even know he has children practically until Captain Hook shows up and kidnaps his children, takes them to Neverland, and then he finds out after fact that he's Peter Pan, but he lost his identity. So it's the premise is that we all have nobility and greatness within us. We just have to find it, and sometimes that means getting out of your comfort zone and things you normally wouldn't do. So that's kind of
Thank
what
you.
the book's
Thank
about.
you, Mark.
Yeah.
So Marie, you have 2 or 3 more to tell us, and then we have to conclude the show. So you left off with advocacy, and what comes after that?
Okay, so that's 10, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Can't remember anymore. So that's 10. Let me just, it must be the book. I think those are the key ones. The 2 other ones, what are they? Because it's been a while since I talked about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you come back another time and we'll do
so
a deep dive on that.
I'll do a deep dive on this, yeah.
So I would think what comes next is, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I would think that after all of those that you mentioned is repetition of bringing something from the back forward and then applying it to a new situation.
Yeah. And that's what, the dare leadership that I always talk about, and that, that's really what, dare standing for decide, act, review, and expand, which is, You start with your decision, and then obviously you have to act on the decision, and then you get a feedback and you review. So if it's not good, you have to take a new decision. If it's okay, then you don't stop there. You expand. You try to go out of this comfort zone this new comfort zone that you created, and so you repeat this process all the time. So I agree with you. The repetition is part of the process as well. Yeah.
All right, this has been great. Mireille, thank you very much for being on Global TV Talk Show. I really enjoyed the show, and I think our worldwide audience will derive benefit from meeting you. And Mark, thanks so much for your interpretation, and good luck with your book. And I hope to see you on another show.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, take care.
Welcome. Take care. Bye.
Say goodbye. Have a great day.
Bye, Mark. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Hope to talk to you soon.
Okay, this is Ed in Southern California, and that's Mark in Southern California, and Mireille in Perth, Australia. This is so cool. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.